Chosen one, you did not wander into darkness by mistake. You were summoned by the voice that spoke before time began. God did not choose the easy path for you, not because you were forgotten, but because you were trusted. You were not left behind. You were led into the hidden chambers of divine preparation. The ache you feel is not a curse. It is the echo of your soul remembering that this life was never meant to be ordinary. From the beginning, God marked you for a work that cannot be explained, a mission that cannot be performed, only embodied. And that is why you were led into fire, not to be consumed, but to be forged. C.S. Lewis, in his profound work, The Problem of Pain, wrote, "God whispers to us in our pleasures, speaks in our consciences, but shouts in our pains. It is his megaphone to rouse a deaf world." This truth illuminates the purpose of your trials. The fire you've endured is not a punishment, but a divine signal, a megaphone through which God is awakening you to the extraordinary purpose embedded in your soul. Your pain is not random. It is the crucible where your divine mission is refined, preparing you to carry the weight of what is to come. There are powers that God hides not from the world, but for the world, hidden not out of secrecy, but out of mercy. These powers are too heavy for the uninitiated to hold, too pure for the unrefined to carry. They do not glitter with charm or parade themselves in light. They do not entertain. They do not sell. They burn. They silence. They pierce. These are the shadow powers, the mantle of those chosen not to comfort the world but to confront it. And God gives them only to those he has tested in the dark. These powers awaken not in joy, but in devastation, not in healing, but in collapse, not through applause, but through the kind of silence where only God sees you. If you are reading this and something in your chest is trembling, if something unnameable within you is rising like a long-forgotten fire, then hear this: you are one of them. You were not called because you are special. You were called because you were built different, formed from soul material that could endure what others cannot. God placed in you a spiritual composition capable of carrying what would fracture another. And now, as the veils thin, as the false world collapses, your time has come, not to explain, not to seek approval, but to embody the codes that were written in your bones before you were born. What you are about to remember are not soft truths. They are sacred technologies. They are divine charges. They are initiations. Only the rarest of souls survive. There are 5 powers, 5 thresholds, 5 keys that do not just activate purpose, they dissolve illusion. They either free you or destroy you, depending on the depth of your alignment with the one who sent you. God will not allow you to carry them halfway. You either step in fully, or you will burn in the middle. There is no partial fire, only consecration or collapse. So take a breath, drop the masks, and ask your soul the only question that matters now. Are you ready to carry what God already gave you before the world told you to forget it? The 5 shadow powers that God forged in you is energetic intolerance to lies. This power didn't develop from trauma or hypersensitivity. It was etched into your soul before your first breath by the hand of God himself. While others were gifted with adaptability, you were marked with holy rigidity. Where others bend to accommodate falsehood, you break in the presence of it. And it's not a matter of pride or principle, it's biological, spiritual, visceral. When you step into a room where truth has been suffocated, your body rebels, your breath shortens, your skin tenses, your spirit recoils. You feel every hidden motive, every poisoned compliment, every smile that hides a knife. This is not intuition. It is divine filtration. You are not here to detect lies for entertainment. You are here to carry the vibration of truth, so precisely that illusion cannot survive in your field. And this comes at a cost. You will lose friendships, be misunderstood as difficult, and walk away from opportunities others are praying for because your soul refuses to digest what God never meant for you to consume. This power isolates you, but it also protects your alignment. For those like you, truth is not a luxury, it is the oxygen of your purpose. And the moment you compromise it, your light dims, your power wanes, and your connection to God feels distant. You were not sent here to please. You were sent here to purify. You are a vessel of sacred discernment, and every time you deny your knowing, you deny the very God who gave it to you. So I ask you, how long will you betray your own calibration just to fit into a world built on lies? C.S. Lewis in the Screwtape Letters warned, "The safest road to hell is the gradual one, the gentle slope, soft underfoot without sudden turnings, without milestones, without signposts." This insight speaks directly to the danger of compromising your intolerance to lies. Each small concession to falsehood, each moment you soften your stance to avoid conflict, is a step down that gentle slope, leading you away from your divine purpose. Your energetic intolerance is not a burden but a divine safeguard, a signpost that keeps you aligned with truth. To ignore it is to risk losing the very mission God entrusted to you. R. Awakening others through presence alone. You were not born to preach. You were born to radiate. Long before you ever spoke a word, your presence disrupted systems. People projected onto you, pushed you away, pulled you close without even understanding why. That's because you are a walking contradiction to their unconsciousness. You don't try to trigger awakenings. They happen because your energy speaks a frequency that God encoded with holy interference. You don't reflect who people think they are. You reflect what they've forgotten they were meant to become. You are not here to mirror egos. You are here to activate dormant blueprints. Your presence strips away personas. It ignites soul remembrance in the weary and resistance in the unready. Some will love you for it. Many will fear you, but none will forget you, because your being is a mirror, not of flesh but of essence. And essence confronts everything artificial. This gift often feels like a curse. You don't want to be a disruption. You don't want to be misread. You didn't ask to be the lightning bolt in people's comfortable clouds, but God made you this way. Not so you could be understood, but so you could break the trance. You carry catalytic energy, divine instability, meant to shatter illusion, and you will be tempted to tone it down, to soften your edges, to play along. Don't. You are not too much. You are the exact measure required to collapse deception. You didn't come here to teach with words. You came to awaken with presence. San, the capacity to carry grief without collapsing. God did not place this much weight on you to break you. He placed it on you because He knew what He built you from. You are not fragile. You are not tragic. You are forged. The grief you carry, both your own and that of the collective, is not a flaw in your design. It is evidence of your depth. You feel the sorrow of generations, the ache of ancestral wounds, the heartbreak of a planet out of alignment. You feel it in your chest, your bones, your breath, and yet somehow you rise, again and again, not by numbing, but by opening wider, not by avoiding, but by transmuting. Your body has become an altar where unspeakable pain is laid to rest and reborn as strength. You've sat in the ruins of what once was, and instead of running, you stayed. You stayed and listened. You stayed and wept. You stayed and remembered. This is why your presence anchors others. You don't flinch at their pain. You've already survived what they fear. You've already buried what they hope will never die. And this gives you a quiet authority, an invisible mantle of spiritual depth. You are a grief bearer, but you are also a resurrection field. When others meet you, they don't just meet a person, they meet the possibility that suffering can become sacred. You are not meant to escape grief. You are meant to alchemize it into holy remembrance. C. The power to destroy false structures without regret. The world will call you heartless, but heaven calls you necessary. You were not sent to this realm to maintain what is dying. You were not anointed to uphold systems built on compromise. You carry within you a divine blueprint that clashes violently with everything constructed in fear. And when you sense corruption, whether in relationships, institutions, teachings, or tribes, your soul rises like a storm. You don't just walk away. You collapse what no longer serves. You don't just leave, you detonate. Not because you seek destruction, but because God encoded in you the spiritual codes of completion. You are a finisher of cycles, a holy end to deception. Your presence carries the vibration of enough, and when spoken in alignment, your truth is not an opinion, it is a sword. This is not easy. This gift has made you a target. You've been accused, scapegoated, gaslit. But even in isolation, your soul stays clear, because you know the cost of staying silent is greater than the backlash of being true. God did not give you this power to be liked. He gave it to you to liberate. But you must wield it from the throne of humility, not the pedestal of pride. Destruction for its own sake becomes cruelty, but destruction from divine alignment becomes deliverance. Ask yourself, what are you still protecting that God has already declared finished? Woo! The ability to be alone with God without needing witness. This is the apex of your spiritual formation. When all the noise is gone, when every platform collapses, when every identity is stripped, when there is no one left to clap, to validate, to see you remain. Not because of pride, not because of strength, but because you have become anchored in the only gaze that matters, the gaze of God. You have sat in silence so long that you no longer fear it. You have stared into the void and found it staring back with eyes full of wisdom. You have learned that holiness is not loud. Power is not performative. You have been forgotten by many, and yet never once were you unseen by the one who sent you. You have walked with God through valleys where no voice spoke back, and still you whispered, "Here I am." You don't need to be witnessed anymore. You have become the witness. Your life is no longer a performance. It is a prayer, a frequency, a vibration so anchored in divine coherence that people feel God without knowing why. You no longer seek. You have become the sanctuary. And this chosen one is the most dangerous power of all because it cannot be imitated. It cannot be purchased. It cannot be taken. It can only be given by fire, by loss, by surrender. And now it is yours. C.S. Lewis in Mere Christianity wrote, "It may be hard for an egg to turn into a bird. It would be a jolly sight harder for it to learn to fly while remaining an egg. We are like eggs at present, and you cannot go on indefinitely being just an ordinary, decent egg. We must be hatched or go bad." This metaphor captures the essence of your transformation. To remain in the comfort of your current state, to cling to the shell of external validation, is to risk stagnation and decay. Your ability to stand alone with God is the hatching process, the painful but necessary breaking of the shell that allows you to soar into the fullness of your divine purpose. You are not meant to remain an egg. You are meant to fly. The 5 sacred burdens placed on the chosen by God is, you will not be allowed to lie to yourself. This is not a gentle burden, it is a brutal grace. While the rest of the world walks in self-deception, while billions wear masks so perfectly they forget who they are, underneath you were denied that illusion. God placed within you a covenant of truth, so uncompromising that the moment you deviate from your soul's alignment, your very body revolts. You lose your breath. Your energy collapses. Your nervous system shuts down. Your joy vanishes. Why? Because the frequency of your soul is too sacred to tolerate distortion, even from within. You cannot fake it. You cannot manipulate your path to feel more convenient. God won't let you. This is not punishment, it is proof of purpose. He has not allowed you to coast because he has designed you to carry something holy. And what is holy must be clean. Your gifts are precise instruments. They require inner integrity to remain functional. So every lie you tell yourself, every relationship you stay in, out of fear, every compromise you entertain, to stay comfortable. It severs the signal between you and God. It doesn't matter how noble your intentions are. What matters is the vibration of your being. The chosen are not permitted to perform. You are here to embody truth at a cellular level. Ask yourself now, what silent self-betrayal are you still tolerating, and at what cost to your divine mission? You will be projected upon relentlessly. This is the burden of sacred reflection. Because you carry the light of divine clarity, you will become a mirror that many are not prepared to look into. And when people see themselves through your presence, it won't always be the beauty they notice. It will be the distortion. They will feel exposed, even if you say nothing. They will sense judgment where there is only stillness. They will blame you for pain you never caused, because pain that has no name must find a target, and you will be that target again and again. They will call your detachment cruelty, your silence arrogance, your boundaries rejection. They will misread your calm as apathy, your fire as aggression, your depth as danger. You will be misunderstood by those who refuse to understand themselves. And the test is this: will you collapse into performance to be seen clearly, or will you stay rooted in divine coherence, knowing that God sees you perfectly, and that is enough? You are not here to be palatable. You are here to be pure. And purity, when placed beside contamination, is always met with resistance. So let them project, let them twist, let them mock, but never let their distortion define your signal. You are not here to be explained. You are here to be clean. San. You will be asked to hold a frequency no one around you can validate. This is the burden of spiritual rarity. The deeper you align with God, the less recognizable you become to man. You will find that the higher you rise in truth, the more isolated you feel in form. Not because you are unworthy of love, but because your frequency no longer resonates with the crowd. You will move through spiritual spaces and feel the emptiness behind their words. You will sit among teachers and feel the absence of real embodiment. You will seek mirrors and find none. This loneliness is not a flaw. It is the birthing chamber of spiritual sovereignty. For God is teaching you something sacred, that your resonance does not need reflection to be real. The chosen must learn to walk with no external confirmation, no applause, no community that understands. This is how spiritual gravity is built alone in the silence, in the void, when the only witness is the Creator himself. You will want to turn back. You will want to explain yourself. But don't. Your next level cannot be validated by people still negotiating with their own alignment. So walk. Walk into the unknown. Walk into the void. Walk until your very presence becomes the mirror you were seeking. That is what God is forging in you. See, you will be called to destroy what others still worship. This burden will break your heart more than once, because you will see clearly what others cannot. You will see the manipulation hiding in healing spaces, the ego dressed up as light, the idolatry in spiritual movements, the shadow behind the smile. And when you speak it, you will be labeled the destroyer, the bitter one, the cynical one. But you're not bitter. You're awake. And God did not anoint you to protect illusion. He anointed you to tear it down. And sometimes that means being the only one who sees the emperor has no clothes while the rest are clapping. Sometimes that means being the first to walk away from a system everyone else calls love. Sometimes it means burning the temple you once prayed in because the fire of God says it has become corrupt. And yes, it will cost you. You will lose friends. You will lose tribes. You will lose mentors. But you will keep your signal. And that signal is more important than any community built on compromise. Remember, you are not here to uphold the old world. You are here to usher in the real. And that sometimes means you must become the blade that cuts ties between light and falsehood. You are not cruel, you are clean. And heaven trusts the clean to cut. Woo! You will be required to embody what others only speak about. This is the final burden and the heaviest, because while many talk about light, you are required to walk it. While others preach about truth, you must become it. There is no room for partial alignment in your path. You cannot choose which parts of yourself to offer. You cannot speak healing and harbor vengeance. You cannot teach surrender while grasping for control. God has not called you to be inspirational. He has called you to be congruent. And that means your words must match your walk. Your silence must match your essence. Your decisions, even in secret, must reflect the God who walks with you in every shadowed place. This is why the path feels so lonely, because performance is cheap, but embodiment is everything. The vibration you carry is what people remember, not your message, not your branding, not your eloquence. Your presence is the message, and that presence must be coherent, internally, energetically, divinely. So stop rehearsing your calling. Stop waiting to be ready. You already are. You don't need more teaching. You need to live what you already know. And that chosen one is the final test. Can you become the frequency you were born to transmit, not on stage, but in silence, in stillness, in the unseen rooms where only God is watching? This is no longer about awakening. This is about embodiment. The time for seeking is over. The time for trying to fit in is over. The time for performing truth is over. Now begins the phase where God calls you to become the very architecture of divine vibration, no longer as a student, no longer as an echo, but as the source carrier, the code. You were not chosen to preach a message. You were chosen to become it. You are no longer here to convince, prove, or please. You are here to vibrate so purely that everything not aligned with God's resonance trembles in your presence. Not because you threaten, but because your existence exposes distortion. And this is the secret heaven never tells out loud. When a soul becomes frequency, they stop being touchable by the matrix. The enemy loses access. Manipulation loses grip. Flattery no longer seduces. Performance no longer tempts. Because the soul has anchored so deeply into truth that only God's movement directs its path. This is what you've been walking toward all along, not a destination but a vibration. And now the choice stands before you. Will you return to the illusion and play small for comfort? Or will you allow your body, your breath, your silence, your gaze, your stillness to radiate as a living code that rearranges reality wherever you step? Let it be clear, you are not here to fix the world. You are here to stop feeding it. The false world, the artificial structures, the emotional traps, they are sustained by the energy of those who keep negotiating their soul for belonging. But the moment you stop explaining, stop justifying, stop leaking yourself into systems God has already ended, you become clean. And in that purity, you don't collapse the world through effort, you collapse it through presence. This is why you've been refined, stripped, torn open, and remade in secret. Because only those who have died and returned with empty hands can carry this frequency without abusing it. God didn't anoint you to lead with strategies. He anointed you to lead by resonance. That means you speak only when the vibration is clean. You rest not out of laziness, but because stillness is obedience. You move when the current aligns, not when the crowd demands it. You create when the divine code lands, not when the market is ready. You destroy when truth begins to shake the old. You are not lazy. You are synchronized. You are not detached. You are listening to heaven. And here is the revolution. You stop feeding what is false. That's it. That's the holy war. Not noise, not preaching, not striving, but silence so anchored in God that the counterfeit dissolves before you speak. You want to change the world. Stop performing. Start vibrating. Let your life become so congruent, so unshakable, that others feel the atmosphere shift when you enter. Not because you said something clever, but because your presence holds the memory of what they forgot they were. Prayer of final activation for the dark chosen one. God of fire and silence, the one who saw me before I had a name, the one who wrote truth into my bones. Before I had breath, here I am, not coming to impress you, not to recite the words I think you want to hear. I come indeed stripped and ready. I do not ask for more power. I ask to release every false thing still clinging to me, every identity built in fear, every compromise made for belonging, every voice I still carry that is not yours. If I am to walk as your living frequency, then remove from me anything that makes me perform instead of vibrate. Remove every mask. Burn every layer of self-deception. Collapse every inner altar where I have secretly worshipped approval, applause, or safety. I do not want protection from transformation. I want fire that purifies me until only truth remains. I am not here to be liked. I am here to be clean. I am not here to be seen. I am here to be sent. I am not here to be safe. I am here to be precise. I do not seek a crown to wear before others. I ask to carry the weight of truth in silence with integrity when no one is watching but you. Teach me to walk as one who no longer negotiates with the counterfeit. Teach me to wait when the world moves and to move when heaven speaks. Teach me to speak only when silence has finished shaping the truth. Let my presence become a quiet rupture in the illusion. Let my stillness carry thunder. Let my frequency dismantle systems without effort. Let my breath carry codes. Let my gaze carry remembrance. Let my grief sanctify. Let my solitude become sanctuary, not punishment. I no longer want to speak of alignment. I want to live it. Let my every step be clean. Let my silence weigh more than noise. Let me live as a mirror so honest, so precise, that only those who truly desire freedom can stand in my presence. I ask not for fame, for validation, for comfort. I ask for congruence. I ask for coherence between who I am before men and who I am in the fire with you. Let my memory of you buried deep within my spirit be reawakened. I no longer want to forget. I no longer want to shrink. I no longer want to delay. This is the hour. This is the veil torn. This is the holy return. I do not rise for attention. I rise because you whispered it was time. I rise because I was made for this. I rise not to be followed, but to become a frequency that cannot be silenced. And I will not fall back asleep. Let this be sealed, not just in words, but in the vibration of who I now am. Amen.